Dear students, good morning. Today we are going to see remaining part of the light lesson. That is the shadows, properties of shadows, eclipse, prism, Newton disk and synthesis of colors. So first we move on to shadow. What do you mean by shadow? So when you stand in front of the sunlight, we can see an image form besides you. That is said to be a shadow. During daytime, the shadow will be falling, which is of long size. But during noon time, we can see very short size image will be formed. That is when the sun is in front on the top of your head. Okay, during sunset time also you can see long image will be forming. So the dark portion that formed is said to be a shadow. Light always used to travel in a straight line. So the shadows are formed opposite to that of the light source. Then we move on to the types. Two types, umbra and penumbra. So when an opaque object is meant to place on the path of the light, when an opaque object is made to நீ எதுவும் பண்ணாத நானே கொண்டு ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணு. When an opaque object is made to place on the path of the light, that is a point source, a dark spot will be appear. This dark shadow is said to be umbra. Okay. Then an opaque object is made to place on the path of the light, when the source is said to be broad. So a dark spot, that is umbra, will be appearing, and an illuminated dark shadow will be formed around the umbra. That is said to be penumbra. So the penumbra always encloses the umbra. The darkest shadow is said to be umbra, and the lightest shadow is said to be penumbra. Then we move on to properties of shadows. So what are the properties when we consider? It is always opposite that of the light source. Then all the object does not produce shadows. For example, transparent material or transparent material does not produce shadows. Only the opaque objects produce the shadows. So the shadow does not determine the property or characteristics of the object. So either the object is very big or small, then the shape cannot be determined by using the shadow. And then next one, whatever the color of the light source falls on the object, the shadow will be always dark. That is black color only the shadow can be seen. So size of the object or the shadow can be determined by placing the light source and the object and the distance between the object and the screen. This determines the size of the shadow. These are said to be the properties of shadow. Eclipse. So eclipse is an incident in which an astronomical body is partially or fully covered by another astronomical body in the presence of light. This occurs in case of solar eclipse or lunar eclipse. So it is based on the property of light said to be a rectilinear property of light. Regarding solar eclipse, when we consider, in short form we can say the moon is arrayed between the sun and the earth. Regarding lunar eclipse, the earth will be at the center between the sun and the moon. So now we go discuss briefly about solar eclipse. Solar eclipse occurs when the moon arrives between the sun and the earth. The shadow of the moon appears on the earth at A, as shown in the figure. So the persons who are at A are unable to see the sun. this is said to be solar eclipse. But those who are at the region B and C are able to see the sun partially. This is how solar eclipse takes place. Now we move on to lunar eclipse. Lunar eclipse means here the earth will be at the center between the sun and the moon. Lunar eclipse occurs when the earth comes between sun and the moon. The earth prevents light coming from the sun and makes the shadow on the moon. This is lunar eclipse. Next we move on to plane mirror. What do you mean by plane mirror? The mirror that we use in our house, that is said to be a plane mirror. A shining surface material which reflects light when falls on it is said to be a plane mirror. So it forms an image of an object when falls on it. So the image formed by the plane mirror is always upright, that is straight, you can able to see. And then size of the object and the size of the image is equal. And then the distance between the object to the mirror and the mirror to the image also will have the same. And it also possesses the property of lateral inversion. What do you mean lateral inversion? So when you go and see in front of the mirror, you can see your left hand will appear as right hand and the right hand will be appearing as left. This property is said to be lateral inversion. So where you can see this, in case of the ambulance, you can see the lateral will be written in the backward directions. Because a person, those who are driving in front of the ambulance, by seeing the rear view mirror, straightened letter of ambulance can be seen, so they will give the way for vehicles. With the sound also they will give the way for the vehicle. By seeing that ambulance name also they will give. So you can see now the ambulance, the letter will be written in the backward direction. This property is said to be lateral inversion. And then next when you see, the plane mirror always forms the virtual images. So in case of the, here two types of images you can see, real and virtual image. Last class we have discussed, in case of the pinhole camera, the image will be formed invertedly on the screen. So the images that are obtained on the screen are said to be real images. So in case of a plane mirror, the screen cannot, on the screen, you cannot capture the image. So the place where the image cannot be captured, those images are said to be virtual image. Now we are going to discuss about the difference of images formed between the pinhole camera and the plane mirror. Image formed by a pinhole camera, image formed in a plane mirror. First point, the image is real. That is, it is captured on the screen. In case of plane mirror, the image is virtual. It cannot be captured on the screen. Second point, the image may not be equal to the size of the object. The second point, in plane mirror, the image is equal to the size of the object. And then the third point, the image is inverted. That is, you can see in the pinhole camera the tree upside down, inverted image. But in case of the plane mirror, the image is erect, straight, that is upright image can be seen. Let us see the properties of images formed in a plane mirror. Image formed in a plane mirror is upright. Image formed in a plane mirror is virtual. Virtual means real image cannot be seen. Okay, then the image is of the same size of the object. The object and the size of the image remains the same. The distance of the image from the plane mirror is equal to distance of the object from the mirror. So the distance also equal you will get. And the last one, image is laterally inverted. Laterally inverted means what? It will possess the property left appears as right and right appears as left. And then move on to colors. What do we mean by colors? So light is a form of energy, already we have seen. With the sensation of light only we can able to view the wonderful things around us. So visible light is a wave which has wavelength ranges between 400 nanometers to 700 nanometers. So each wave possesses a wavelength which has a particular color. So the band of visible light can be given as VGR, that is violet for V, and then indigo I, blue for B, and then for G green, Y for yellow, orange for O, and for red it is R. That is short form is to say VGR. So the violet has the shortest wavelength and the red has the longest wavelength. So you can see in the vehicles the danger light can be mentioned by means of red color. Why? Because red has the longest and the highest wavelength. So it can travel through the air even in the fog or the mist. So we can easily identify those colors. We can see in the traffic signals also red color means we have to stop. Then only we have to move. So red has the longest wavelength, so it can be viewed to a longer distance also. Then we move on to prism. What is the prism? It is a transparent material made of either glass or plastic. So on the two surface of it makes an acute angle, that is below 90 degree. So with it, when a white light is made to pass through the prism, it splits up into 7 constituent colors. That is these colors you can see. Rainbow colors they say. You can also view in case of the rainbow these 7 colors after the rain opposite direction of the sunlight we can view. That is violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange and red. Then next we move on to Newton's disc. So the Newton scientists want to prove that those 7 colors when they are mixed together it will form a white color constituents. So that he made an arrangement as given in the figure. So Newton started the process of mixing different colors to make white color by setting an arrangement as shown in the figure. Newton disc is a cardboard disc with 7 equal sector colored red, yellow, blue, green, yellow, orange and red. When the disc turns quickly, the retina receives the sensation of the spectrum simultaneously and the disc appears white. Using this disc, one can explain that white is a combination of 7 constituent colors. And then next we move on to synthesis of colors. Synthesis of colors means mixing of 2 colors and then we are getting a new color from it. So we already know primary colors, that is red, green and blue. If this any 2 or 3 are in definite proportion mixed means it gives different colors. For example, we get secondary colors as magenta, cyan and yellow. Equal proportion of 2 primary colors create a secondary color. Magenta, cyan and yellow are called secondary colors. For example, 1 red plus 1 blue gives magenta, 1 blue plus 1 green gives cyan, 1 green plus 1 red is equal to yellow. So equal proportion of these 3 primary colors, that is red, green and blue, when combined together they will form white color. Thank you students.